Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. It is July the 14th, 2022. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Well, reality has hit. Kevin Durant, in his 30s, is finding out that there isn't that much of a trade market for him. Now, KD is one of the best players I've ever come across. But to get him, you have to give things up. For this deal to work, the Nets have to get back meaningful value. Now, what's the point for a team giving up meaningful value if KD's arrival is not going to make them a better team? Now, let me just talk about the Golden State Warriors here. For whatever reason, I believe part of it has to do with the personalities involved. The fact that Joe Lacob doesn't like to be in front of cameras. The fact that his partner, Peter Guber, doesn't like to be in front of cameras. The fact that their GM is somebody hardly anyone knows, but yet he, quite frankly, is one of the best GMs in all of professional sports, a guy named Bob Myers. Right? Some great teams hit you in the face. I could look at the Dodgers, and I can say, wow, this team's been great for several years. Right? It's obvious. It leaps out at you. Other teams are loaded and you don't notice because of the style of play. Now, we just had an NBA Finals involving the Warriors. They go out, they lose game one. Right? Many people here online, look at the comments to the Finals videos. Many people felt that the Warriors were too old, that their time had passed. Right? The feeling was that the Warriors were going to get beaten and not even make it to a game 7 in the NBA Finals. Right? Now keep in mind, they were playing the Boston Celtics, a team that plays well together, but was hardly a dominant team. Right? Now we have new folklore. The folklore is that Game 4 came about, and Steph Curry just had a historical night. It's as if Steph Curry got lucky hitting shots from 3. Right? Steph Curry erupted. The Warriors were lucky to win Game 4 on the road. Right? Let me offer a different interpretation. And I've been saying this for a few videos here online. The more you look at the Warriors, the more you realize that they are a juggernaut. Folks, I've watched basketball a long time. Showtime, the 83 Sixers, the Bad Boys, Shaq and Kobe, Jordan and Scotty. Right, we've seen some dynamite teams over the years. The Heatles. I'm just telling you that the Warriors belong on the court. These Warriors, with not only any Warrior team from the Steph Curry era, but really any of the teams I just mentioned. Now we're finding out the truth. Game 6, for those who remember, was on the road. Warriors beat Boston in Game 6. For those keeping track, we kept hearing that this Boston team hadn't lost 3 in a row for months. They lost Game 4. They lost Game 5. They lost Game 6, didn't they? Right? Against this Warrior team. So people are watching Summer League ball. And they're starting to realize that James Wiseman isn't even the best young talent on the team. They have a guy who hardly got any playing time in the NBA Finals, a guy named Kuminga. Not exactly a household name. He's putting on a show in the Summer League. If the Warriors take the training wheels off, this guy's going to put on a show in the regular season. So let's ask some uncomfortable questions. The first one is, would Kevin Durant right now make this Warrior team a better team? Don't get me wrong, KD is a big star, no doubt. There are box office reasons to get Kevin Durant. Right? The Warriors, by the way, already have retired Kevin's number. Right? They understand he's part of their history. 2-time Finals MVP winner. Right? In those 2 NBA Finals, the Warriors played just 1 game above the minimum. Right? 9 games. 9 Finals games for 2 titles. Right? So no doubt, Golden State Warrior fans view Durant as a future Hall of Famer and as a part of their history. But let's be real for a moment. Right? Durant has an injury history, doesn't he? Including one with the Warriors. Wiggins is much younger, isn't he? I would argue Wiggins is more durable. Right? Wiggins is a guy who you can literally say to him, second team All-NBA, Jason Tatum, stick him. Slow him down. Play some defense on him. And Wiggins will then say, all right, and will do that in such a way that half of the world was wondering what was wrong with Tatum in that NBA Finals. Basketball has a defensive side. I think it's fair to say that KD can't match Wiggins' level of defense, can he? Well, you have to ask yourself, a team with the guy who just led the league in free throw percentage. No, it's not Curry. No, it's not Klay Thompson. Jordan Poole. Right, with Jordan Poole on the roster, right, Poole, of course, for the year, averaged more than 15 points a game. With Curry on the roster, with Klay Thompson on the roster, with Kuminga, who's dropped more than 20 in multiple Summer League games. What does the team need more? A stone-cold scorer in Kevin Durant, or a guy who can be a defensive wizard on a Jason Tatum in the biggest games of the year. That's what the NBA Finals are. While also hitting something like 37, 38% of his threes. While also having the capability on certain nights to get you 30 points on that night. Right, folks? Wiggins is one of the most intriguing young talents in the league. I'm not sure if swapping out Wiggins for KD would make the Warriors a better team. Right? Wiggins isn't like the other Warriors. He just won his first ring. Right? While Draymond and Klay and Steph are adding to a collection, no, this is the young, hungry guy who's just making a name for himself. He's just gotten that first ring. He's still thirsty. He doesn't have the rings KD has. Right? Isn't that the kind of thirst you want your team to have? Don't you need a mix here of older players plus a younger guy? Let me tell you too, if you looked at the box scores from the finals, you would notice that with Looney, a guy the Warriors re-signed. Great move by them. Wiggins was among those with the best plus minuses on the team. Right? This is the young star who's actually a glue guy. Let me also say, too, I'm assuming the Nets wouldn't want to trade KD, higher profile, for Andrew Wiggins straight up. I'm assuming they would say, hey, Golden State, add Kuminga. The answer to that would be no. Right? Add James Wiseman. The answer to that should be no. A mobile big who blocks shots, who can run up and down the court, who understands and doesn't have a problem with the idea that Curry is the dominant guy on the team. Think about just Golden State defensively. And I'm just telling you, this is a stealth team. This is the team where you look at them, they were the 3 seed. This is like Olajuwon's Rockets back in the day, where if you remember the era, teams like David Robinson's Spurs were supposed to be more elite. But then you looked at Olajuwon's team and you thought, you know what, Kenny Smith and Sam Cassell, these guys are better than advertised. Robert Horry, even back then, we didn't call him Big Shot Bob, but you saw the guy hitting some shots and you thought, man, this dude has ice water in his veins. And of course, you understood who Olajuwon was. Right? Put it this way. Olajuwon faced a young Shaquille O'Neal in an NBA Finals. It went 4 games. Right? There was a dominant performance from the center position, one guy dominating the other. It was Olajuwon dominating O'Neal, and that team had Nick Anderson, had Penny. You thought, oh, the Magic looked like they're up for a run. Someone forgot to give that memo to Olajuwon and his team. Folks, the Warriors are just like that now. Right? You look at the Warriors, please don't make the mistake the press is making, where you look and you say, oh, wow, Klay Thompson is just getting his leg back together. He can't bring it every night. You look at Draymond Green and somehow people kept overlooking the most important column of the box score, which is the plus minus. They kept telling us, oh, Draymond's not scoring, right? Forget the fact that the guy, of course, was on an all-defensive team, right? This year. Right? Forget that. We were supposed to believe that Draymond's long in the tooth, Draymond's not who he was, and stuff like that. What about the young guys? Didn't Wiggins and Looney leave an impression from the finals? If you understood the guys on their bench, Moody, let me add him. Right? If you understood that this team, this Golden State team, is loaded on the bench. In fact, look at some of the box scores from the NBA Finals. You're going to find that the big edge that Golden State had was the guys off the bench, and there they pulled a punch. You didn't see Kuminga getting extended minutes in the NBA Finals. Folks, this guy's a star. He's going to be one of the stories next year. Right? People can look at Holmgren, they can look at Banchero, they can look at the guys drafted this year. Folks, honestly, there are not many people in this league I would trade Kuminga for. Right? And of course, you look at the Warriors, and there's always the question about, athleticism and stuff like that. In reality, this team has some of the best athletes in the league. Right? The question isn't Wiseman's athleticism. For his height, the guy was drafted second in the NBA draft. Right? The problem with the draft is it's a 5-minute thrill. Right? You remember the draft, the year it happens, you say, oh, this guy was picked second in the draft. Then you forget about it. Wiggins was the first pick in the draft. These aren't even the first 2 or 3 names you think of when you think of the Golden State Warriors. So let me say, someone's going to have to tell me why I would want to part with any of that talent. To get a great player, right? KD's a great player. No questions asked, right? I mean, they know him here in Golden State. He was out here in Golden State. His number's retired out here. But why would I want to break up this band? Right, folks, there's a distinct possibility. Distinct. And it's going to blindside a lot of people who seem to consider Golden State to have gotten lucky, right? To have hinged their championship on Steph Curry exploding in Game 4. Right? There's a very strong possibility. I don't see the better team right now. And understand, injuries do happen. Golden State recently missed the playoffs. Right? Some teams can have talent on the roster, but, this guy's Achilles goes. This guy's knee goes. But if Golden State stays healthy, and understand, they have the bench now, where they can start pulling guys late in the season to make sure they're healthy for the playoffs. If Golden State gets healthy, I don't see the team in the Western Conference who can stop them from getting back to the NBA Finals. Right, folks? I just don't see the team. I'm a bit perplexed even now. And understand, Golden State has gone years, and I mean it's years, where in the playoffs they have won at least one game on the road. Right, the Golden State win in Game 4 of the NBA Finals was so unusual. That Golden State wins a championship on the road 2 games later. Right, folks, they won 2 games in Boston. They won more games in Boston during the finals than did the Celtics themselves. Right, Steph Curry isn't a guy getting lucky from 3. Rather, Steph Curry is a guy who was on a team that had Game 1 won. Then they fell apart in the fourth quarter on their home court. Right? Steph Curry is a guy who lives for moments like the NBA Finals. Don't be fooled by the fact that prior to this year, he had never won a Finals MVP. Right, folks? I'm just telling you, Steph Curry has carried the Warriors in some key games in the playoffs. Right? That's who he is. Houston. Let's go back further. Houston had Golden State beat. Steph Curry explodes in a second half. Literally carried that Warrior team into the NBA Finals. Right? Now you're telling me that with his regular crew, the guys he shares rings with, Clay, Draymond, you're telling me now they have Wiggins, Kuminga, Weissman. What does the league think is going on? If I'm the Warriors, I hold on to that team. You got the perfect chemistry right now. The personalities match up well. Right? Steph is the face of the team. The other vets get their due. Obviously, Draymond is the vocal guy who, will talk with the press and who lets people know that, he's not putting up with any half-stepping. Okay, fine. But the young guys on this team know that they're as good as the young guys on any other team in the NBA. Right? Jordan Poole is savvy enough to realize, and Poole's a great shooter. He's savvy enough to realize that he can't complain about his touches. No matter how hot he is, he replaced Steph in the lineup for weeks and was dynamite. But he's not going to complain when teammates pass the ball to Steph Curry for big shots in big games. Right? Poole understands, hey, I'm playing with legends. Right? Klay Thompson, another guy, just like Wiggins, can come out, can drop 30, lead the team in scoring on a given night. In other words, Steph has a lot of help. Right? So, as someone who likes to play futures, and I know, obviously, they're one of the favorites in the league. Right? But if it's not broken, don't fix it. Unless Lakeup has a desire to throw some box office excitement toward the fans. If I were him, I wouldn't trade for KD. Right? Simply would not do it. Because you're already driving a Maserati. Because you are already the team to beat in the West and might remain so for several years. Folks, you got a lot of people in a lot of towns hoping that they found a Kuminga in the draft. They might not know who Kuminga is right now. They will in a few months. Right? They're hoping that the first round pick that they got is actually a gamer. Has a high ceiling. Right? Can actually play. The Warriors quietly know that right now. Right now. With Kuminga. They already have a thoroughbred in the stable who's having a hard time getting on the court. And of course, Weissman comes in, hits a three, and half the time in his debut game, he has 11 points, 2 blocks. Right? This is a guy who was a highly sought after high school player. Highly sought after. Ends up at Memphis, doesn't stay there for long, ends up in the NBA draft, gets picked second. Could you imagine Steph Curry with an athletic big man? Right, folks? I think this team is a stealth great team. Right? Don't burden the Warriors with their 4 rings, 8 finals appearances, whatever it is, right? Don't burden them with that. What you need to do is to act as if the Warriors don't have a ring yet. And then ask yourself, who's better than this team in the West in 2022? The answer is no one. Right? Phoenix is about to lose DeAndre Ayton. Look, I'm a fan of Kawhi Leonard. Guess what? Kawhi is just coming back. Right? I think Joker deserved to be MVP. Guess what? Joker's running mates are just coming back. I'll agree. Memphis is tough. Memphis is a team people don't realize that can win with Ja Morant and can win without Ja Morant. Right? You wonder whether they're going to be bold enough to trade Ja Morant to get a guy who can actually help them win more games. And I'm a Ja Morant fan, but the analytics are what they are. Right? So the Warriors have little competition. I know it sounds jarring, but the Warriors without KD have little competition, are better defensively, and are younger. Why would you ever make that KD trade? That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by, and please continue to watch Kuminga and Weissman in the Summer League. Right? You'll figure out that as good as the Warriors looked in winning the NBA Finals in 6 games, it did not go the max. Let's do the math. If the Warriors lost game 1 of that Finals, they won 4 of the next 5 games over the Boston Celtics. Right? 4 of the next 5 games. As good as the Warriors looked, you realize that the bench was even deeper than we envisioned. Right? Robert Williams was a problem for the Warriors in the finals. Now we'd have to deal with James Wiseman. Think about that. That's how I see it. I already have a futures play on the Warriors to win the NBA championship next season. Understand everything can change with the torn ACL and stuff like that. But let's just say some great teams walk in the front door. Jordan's Bulls, right? Attitude, three-peat, Jordan's out, then he comes back, losing the playoffs. Nick Anderson mocks him. Jordan, at that point, was number 45. He switches back to number 23. We end up with 3 more rings, 3 more years of bravado. That's not this Warrior team. Right? These are the guys who you don't even know are in the building. Right? You're thinking about the Warriors. People have to remind you that Andrew Wiggins is on the team. Right? You're watching the Warriors. Folks have to actually tell you, because it's not obvious, that this team was the number 1 rated defensive team last year. And you're thinking you're thinking to yourself, wow, a 3 seed ranked number 1? You're like, this team of shooters, free throw leader, Curry, Clay, this team of shooters actually was the number 1 ranked defensive team. Folks, they're not even done yet. That's without Wiseman. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.